Part 10. All right, so in this chapter, we are talking about planning for profit. All right, question number 1. Boniso operates Boniso's Mexican restaurant in an urban city in the South. He has worked hard at setting up cost control systems, and he is generally happy with his overall results. However, he's not sure if all of his menu items are providing profitability for his restaurant. He decides to use the food cost matrix and contribution margin matrix analysis to study each of his menu items. All right, so let's complete his menu analysis. Now, we're not going to do the food cost matrix, but we are going to do the contribution margin. All right, so let's look at here. These are the items that he sells. And so for his, we've got our number sold and our selling price. So if we want to get our total sales, we know how to do that already. We're going to multiply our number sold by our selling price. And that's a formula we can use for the entire column. We'll go ahead, let's sum up and see what our total sales are. So the fajitas all the way through the tacos is $9,522.80. Now the item cost is here. All right. So our fajita plate, we're selling at $12.95 and it costs us $4.92 for us to make that item. So if we want to get our total cost of those items, we can take our number sold and multiply it times the item cost. All right, so again, we take the number sold and we multiply that by our item cost. And again, we'll copy this formula. Copy and paste it. All right, so our contribution margin. So if we look at our formula sheet, our contribution margin per menu item is our selling price minus our item cost. We're going to subtract that out. Okay, so to get our contribution margin per item, we take our selling price and we subtract our total cost. No, I did that wrong. We take our selling price and we subtract our item cost. There we go. All right. So again, that's our selling price and we subtract out our item cost. Okay. So this contribution margin is anything that we can use to pay labor, to pay for rent, to pay utilities, things like that. That's the money left over after our original cost of that item. So let's go ahead and then let's look at our total contribution margin here. Okay. So we have our total sales, we will subtract out our total cost. So our total contribution margin for all the fajita items that he sold is $1,180.41. Now we can calculate that for all of our items. And let's look at our food cost percentage. Okay, so we remember that our item cost divided by our selling price is our food cost percentage. So again, that's our item cost divided by our selling price equals our food cost percentage. And let's go ahead and let's put that in here. Okay, so we can see all these different menu items are listed in the menu under different prices. They have different costs. They have different contribution margins, and they all have different food cost percentages. Okay, so how are we going to get our weighted average? So let's go ahead, let's add up our total sales, which, we'd already done there on the total, but we'll do it again, okay? Let's add up our total cost. Now we can copy this here. So our total cost and our total contribution margin. All right, so if we want to get our food cost percentage, we're going to take our total cost and we're going to divide that by our total sales. All right, so we can see in this week, when he sold 147 fajita plates, 200 enchilada dinners, 82 menudo, 225 taco dinners, okay, his food cost averages out to about 32%. All right, so we can see that there's menu items here that come in at 38%. There's some that come in at 26%. Now, which one do you think he wants to sell? Well, if you look at your food cost percentage, our fajita plate has a higher food cost percentage. So would you take that off the menu or not? I wouldn't, because it's contributing $8 to the bottom line. Okay. Now 26% comes at a lower food cost, but it's only contributing $4.40. All of these menu items are important, okay? You're 25% on the menudo, but it's contributing a little bit more than what the taco dinner is contributing. Okay, we need these different menu items. We need these different items on our menu because when people come in, they want different options, okay? Our taco dinner here, that looks like a really good entry point item. That looks like something where if you needed to, let's say you have to eat out at lunch every couple of days at $5.95 a pop. You can afford to eat there, as opposed to the fajita plate might be something you're doing. You're getting like on a special day or whatnot, or maybe somebody who can afford something at a higher price point can get that. Okay, but this is what our average is going to be. Now let's say we go ahead and let's say we have a special. We sell 400 taco dinners. All right, so that's going to lower our food cost percentage, okay? Let's change it back. Now, let's say we have a fajita special, okay? At Cinco de Mayo, we sell, let's just say it went crazy, right? We sold 400 fajita plates. All of a sudden, our food cost percentage jumps up to 34%, okay? But if we see our total contribution margin, we'll see it before, came out, it jumped up by over, about $1,500. Okay. So even though our food cost is more, our contribution to our sales was significant. Okay. So those variations in your food cost percentage, it's important for you to know what the, why it happened. Okay. So if I sell 400 fajita plates, I know my food cost is going to be a little bit higher. But again, I've made a little bit more money. So it's important to be able to explain those differences that we have in our variations. Okay, question number 3. Eunice manages a Thai restaurant in a primarily Asian section of a major West Coast city. She's interested in determining dollar sales and number of guests needed to break even and to generate her desired profits. Her check average, or her selling price, is $16. Her variable cost per guest is $5.60, and her fixed costs are $170,000. All right, so let's look at our selling price. Here, our selling price is $16. All right, and her variable costs, we know, are $5.60. And her fixed costs here are $170,000. All right, so let's look here. We want to look at our contribution margin. We'll take our selling price and we're going to subtract our variable cost. Okay, so it's $10.40. So let's look at our percentage. We're going to take our selling price, and for just our first one, that's going to be divided by our selling price. And we can absolute that cell. So then we can go ahead and we can copy this. So we see our variable cost percentage is 35%. Our contribution margin percentage is 65%. So our before tax profit, okay, we want to calculate our before tax profit. Let's look at our formula here, okay? Here we go. Our before tax profit. We're going to take our after tax profit divided by 1 minus the tax rate, okay? So we can take all right, so we are going to take our, in order to calculate our before tax profit, we take our after tax profit and we divide that by 1 minus the tax rate. All right, so our before tax profit is $40,000. And that's so with our fixed cost being $170,000 and our tax rate being 40%, we have to make $40,000 to achieve an after-tax profit of $24,000. All right. So let's see. So using the information, let's calculate the following. We're going to calculate our break-even point in sales. Okay. So we got to get our break-even point in sales here. Let's take a look here. All right. Break-even point in sales. We're going to take our fixed costs and divide them by our contribution margin percentage. So that was our fixed costs. We're going to divide that by our contribution margin percentage. All right. So $261,538. That is how much we have to generate in sales in order for us to break even. Okay. So we see we have fixed cost of $170,000. And then when we start selling things in order to pay for them, in order for us to break even, we're going to have to hit $261,000. Okay. If we want to get our break even point in guests served, we're going to take our fixed costs, but now we're going to divide that by our contribution margin in dollars. All right, so we see we need 46.2 guests. Round that up. We'll go ahead and run that to 16,347. All right. So the sales dollars to achieve the desired after-tax profit, okay, which we want a desired after-tax profit of $24,000. Let's look at that formula again, okay? So in order to get the sales dollars to achieve the after-tax profit, we're going to take our fixed cost plus our before-tax profit and then divide it by our contribution margin percentage. All right, so that is our fixed costs plus our desired, let's see. Fixed costs plus our before tax profit. And we're going to divide that by our contribution margin percentage. All right, so that means so for us to break even, we need to hit $261,000 in sales. For us to make $24,000, we have to hit $323,000 in sales. And then in order for us to know how many guests that we need to serve, we are going to take our fixed costs plus our before tax profit, and we divide that by our contribution margin per guest. All right, so we know we need an extra almost 4,000 guests in order for us to not just break even, but to make that $24,000. All right, based on our calculations, Eunice doesn't think she can attract as many guests as she needs to achieve her desired after-tax profit. Therefore, she's decided to make some changes to improve her situation. Due to these changes, she's been able to reduce her selling price by $1, decrease her variable cost percentage by 5%, and lower her fixed cost by $5,000. After these changes, let's calculate what the sales dollars and the guests served need to be to get her desired after-tax profit. Okay, so she's taken a look at that. She said, I don't think I can serve that many guests. All right, so she's dropped her selling price here by $1, so that's down to $15. Her variable cost percentage decreased by 5%, so it was 35%. Now we're going to be at 30%. Which means that her cost percentage margin is going to be 70%. All right, so let's go ahead and calculate what our variable cost percentage would be. Okay, $4.50, and our contribution margin is $10.50. All right, so that it was $10.40, now it's $10.50. All right. And she has dropped her fixed costs by $5,000. Okay. All right. So sales dollars to achieve the after-tax profit. All right. So we remember we would take our fixed costs And then we add in our before tax profit, which we know is $40,000. And we are going to divide that by our contribution margin percentage. All right, so by making those changes, by making those changes here, we can see that she has decreased her sales dollars needed to achieve that after-tax profit by, she had it at 323,000. We've decreased it now down to 292,857. All right, let's figure out how many guests we need to serve to achieve the desired after-tax profit. We can see here we needed to hit over 20,000. All right, so we will take, again, our fixed costs. We're going to add our $40,000. And then we're going to divide that by our contribution margin per guest. All right, so we have dropped that. She was at 20,000. Now we've dropped it to 19,523.